In Delphi, Indiana, the fallout continues from the accusations coming from the accused Delphi killer, Richard Allen. He now claims an Odinistic religious cult murdered Abby and Libby in a ritualistic killing and then threatened his family if he didn't confess to the crime in a jailhouse phone call. In the low country of South Carolina, convicted double murderer Alec Murdaugh is trying to get a new trial, accusing the court clerk, Becky Hill, of influencing the jury. Now, Becky Hill is featured prominently in season 2 of the Netflix series covering the case. Is this a problem? On the docket tonight in Green Bay, Wisconsin, Taylor Shabiznis has been convicted of murdering her lover, Shad Therion, then sexually assaulting him after the murder and after partially dismembering him. Now it's time for her sentencing. In tonight's Tank Takes, a man is in trouble with the law after setting up a dental practice at a convenience store, which has us wondering, if you needed a root canal while you were on the road, would you go to 7-Eleven, Wawa, or Buc-ee's? Get ready. This hour of closing arguments starts right now. I'm Vinny Politan. Thank you so much for joining us here on Closing Arguments on this Monday night. Hope you had a great weekend. My weekend, amazing at Crime Con. A lot of things happened. Spent some time with Gabby's parents. Gabby Petito's parents were down there. What an impact they made with their foundation. And they raised a lot of money for that. Also, the buzz down there. Two things were going on. Two things. Everyone was talking about Murdaugh. Is he getting a new trial? And everyone was talking, what's going on in Delphi? Everyone want to know what is going on in Delphi, and we did our show from there Friday night. We talked about it there, but I was talking about it with like everyone down there, and there's kind of two schools of thought. Some folks think this whole defense theory about what actually happened is completely outrageous, is over the top, and others are like, well, what's going on in Delphi, Indiana? Now, for those who don't know, Richard Allen has been accused of murdering Abby and Libby. It was a case that was cold for 5 years. There were lots of suspicious people, lots of rumors, and ultimately some guy who wasn't even on the radar who works at CBS in the film developing department ended up getting arrested for the murder. Then we learned a lot more when the defense filed some documents last week. I want to go through really the headline, right? So he's accused of murdering these two girls. They believe they have some forensic evidence involving a bullet. They have an admission by him and some other things, a couple other things. Not a ton of evidence in this case, but they have some eyewitnesses, etc. So they have put forth a completely different look or different story about what actually happened to Libby and Abby. They're not saying there's not evidence to prove the case. They're saying he's innocent and we know exactly what happened to these two teenage girls in the woods on that day in Delphi, Indiana, near the Monon High Bridge. So take a look, because I'm going to lay it out for you, and it's really a two-pronged conspiracy. That's the gist of this. And it begins with members of a pagan Norse religion called Odinism, hijacked by white nationalists, ritualistically sacrificed Abigail Williams and Liberty German. Odinism is the pagan religion referenced above, and its followers are called Odinites. Odinites, or Odinists here, are enamored of the Viking Nordic culture. Evidence supports that at the crime scene, these murdering Odinites left behind obvious signatures, symbols in the form of runes. These runes were formed with sticks, fashioned with tree branches, and painted using the blood of Liberty German. Sticks and tree branches were deliberately and carefully, proficiently placed on each girl in a certain arrangement mimicking certain runes. At least one of the branches appeared to have its end cut off cleanly by some type of tool, like an electric saw. providing proof of a preconceived plan. Additionally, the blood of Liberty German was used as the paint to mark a tree with a rune that looks similar to the letter F. With a simple Google search, these runes would be identifiable as one of the many calling cards of this pagan religious cult. Okay. They also described the scene where Abby and Libby were murdered. With that information, we put together this graphic. This was not something that they created. We created this based upon their description of what Abby and Libby looked like. And the allegation is that the bodies were posed and these sticks were put in a very specific manner to send some sort of a message. And there was a tree with a marking of what they said was an F. Now, that's the first prong, okay? Is that the Odinites are responsible for the murder in the woods. This ritualistic sacrifice in the middle of the day. I mean, middle of the day. It's not a nighttime ritual. This is a ritual in the middle of the day. Now, another piece of the prosecution case against Richard Allen is that he confessed. Take a look. On April 3rd, 2023, Richard Allen made a phone call to his wife, Kathy Allen. This is when he's incarcerated after being arrested. In that phone call, Richard Allen admits several times that he killed Abby and Libby. Investigators had the phone call transcribed, and the transcription confirms that Richard Allen admits that he committed the murders of Abigail Williams and Liberty German. He admits several times within the phone call that he committed the offenses as charged. His wife, Kathy Allen, ends the phone call abruptly. Big part of the prosecution case. You get arrested, you make the phone call, everything's recorded, it's monitored, and in this case, they're saying he basically spilled his guts to his wife. Now, take a look at part 2 of the Odinite conspiracy connected to this case involving Richard Allen, according to the defense. Normally, corrections officers were within earshot of every conversation between Richard and his attorneys and between Richard and his wife, close enough that Richard would have to be worried about any conversation with his attorneys and with his wife being overheard by corrections officers. Corrections officers even required that Richard Allen be positioned facing the window where the corrections officer was videotaping the attorney visits with the handheld camcorder. This positioning of Richard Allen's body would allow the corrections officers to videotape Richard Allen's mouth as he talked to his attorneys. This is the key. Richard would therefore not be able to privately discuss anything with his attorneys, such as, and this is the quote, "The guards are telling me that my wife and family will be killed unless I call my wife and tell her that I killed those girls." Okay? He is alleging that the guards were threatening to kill his wife and family unless he called them to confess. Why is this significant? Because the defense is also alleging that these patches, the triangles, "In Odin We Trust," were on the uniforms of the corrections officers. You following that? Those patches on the corrections officers, meaning they're Odinites. The two prongs, again, of this conspiracy alleged by the defense. One, the Odinites sacrificed and murdered these two girls in the woods, down the hill from the Monon High Bridge in the middle of the day. And then when he was arrested and incarcerated, he's being guarded by Odinites, who then threatened to kill his family like they had killed, I guess apparently, Abby and Libby, unless he confessed. They were framing the guy who develops pictures at the CVS. That's the defense. Let's bring in the think tank. Can that be sold in court? Joining us in Englewood Cliffs, New Jersey, criminal defense attorney, former prosecutor Al Wunsch III. Also joining us in Stamford, Connecticut, criminal defense attorney Darnell Crosland. And in Cleveland, Ohio, retired judge, former criminal prosecutor for Cuyahoga County, and judicial fellow at the National Judicial College, Judge Gail Byers. Great to see everyone tonight. Al, I'll start with you. Wait, okay. First, just a show of hands. Don't say anything. Before this, has anyone ever heard of Odinism? Okay. I'll see everyone again. Before this, has anyone ever spoken to an Odinite? Oh, he's pointing at Al. You got to point the other way, Darnell. No. You haven't spoken one. All right, Al, let me start with you. Can this thing be sold in a courtroom? Does it make any sense? Now, we've prosecuted, I mean, we've seen cases where these crazy conspiracies are prosecuted, like the Doomsday Cult mom. So I know cults and strange beliefs actually exist, but to this extent?
Well, what's interesting to me is that this so-called cult, okay, worships Odin and Thor, okay, and Loki, okay, so we have like the rest of the Marvel comics going forward here. It is a religion or a movement that was sort of adopted by the Nazis. And it is a white supremacist group, okay, that has kind of taken over on it. Now, you have a scenario here that, you know, in Oslo, they had that man that went into the camp and killed all those people. He claimed he was an Odinist and that he was doing it for that purpose because he was an Odinist. But I can't imagine that a white supremacist group would kill 2 young white girls. So, I mean, it seems odd to me that if you're going to be a white supremacist group and you have a belief that the whites are superior and that they should not be mixing races, then the last thing you're going to do is kill 2 white young girls who could grow up to produce other Odinists and other neo-Nazis. So it doesn't make a lot of sense to me. And with regards to the fact that the guy is a photographer, you know, he works at the Walmart or whatever,
CVS,
developing photos at CVS. Okay. We all saw the movie, you know, 1 Hour Photo, Vin. So it could be actually something that could happen.
All right, Darnell, is this something that you would be comfortable presenting to a... Now, they name specific names as well in the papers. We have not repeated those names on the air, but there are specific people they are going after here. Now, the motivation for these white nationalist Odinists was that apparently, according to someone somewhere, is alleging that one of the girls' mothers may have been dating interracially.
Okay. Well, the first thing I just wanted to request, since we have the honor of having a judge with us today, if Al talks too much, can the judge hold him in contempt on the court TV?
Absolutely.
You know, I'm much like the Odinists. I'm going to start drinking mead every time we have Darnell speaking. That's the only way to be able to tolerate it.
So, Vinny, I think, you know, the funny thing about whether I'm comfortable defending this case is that it sounds like when you take away the Odinist and, you know, all that other stuff, it sounds like the defense is, I didn't do it, someone else did it, and here's the evidence. And if they're saying that there's evidence, DNA evidence or trace evidence of blood or whatever,
they're saying there's sticks. There's a bunch of sticks that are aligned a certain way, and the prison guards are Odinists, and they compelled him to confess to his wife. They were threatening her life, and he couldn't tell his lawyers anything because they were videotaping him, and he was afraid that they were good mouth readers or lip readers.
So that's the second part of the conspiracy. The first part is, again, we don't have DNA or trace stuff. We have sticks. So now you have to argue to the jury about these sticks, and you got to hope that the jury could follow this argument. Then the second part is true. When we go see clients in jail, they make me sit with my back to the door, and they can look at the person in front of me. They're never videotaping it with a camcorder, but they just want us to sit that way. So if he's saying that they were videotaping with a camcorder and he could tie it to the sticks, then maybe these guards have direct involvement with the murder. All I'm saying is that when you present older nights and this theory to a jury, they're probably going to be just as shocked as I am, and that's going to make the hard sell.
Judge Gail Byers, your thoughts?
Vinny, I think about the fact that in my days as a prosecutor, although as outrageous as all of this sounds, remember, you only have to convince one juror. And as has been said, this seems like it's completely beyond the pale, right? You've got the idea that there are camcorders, which I'm not even sure where you can purchase one these days, but apparently somebody has a direct line to some old technology. But you've got sticks, you've got camcorders, you've got recordings, you've got lip readers. In this day and age, jurors are really looking for sophisticated evidence that really supports the prosecutor's argument. And so I agree that there's going to be this desire to say, hey, you know, is there anything other than sticks? Is there DNA on the sticks? Are there footprints in the woods? Do they match a shoe print from this defendant or
Let me
is it
ask you
someone
this.
else?
Let me ask you this, Judge. If, and I don't know if they have evidence of it, if they had a photograph of a prison guard with the triangle "In Odin We Trust" patch on it, on his uniform, would that alone, with the rest of the evidence they're going to present, but an actual photo of a prison guard wearing the Odinism patches, how far would that be able to move or potentially move a jury close to reasonable doubt, which would be a reasonable alternative theory?
I think, as we all know, it all depends, right? The question is going to be, did that guard ever work the same shift that that prisoner was there? Did they ever have any contact? How did he know that he had the patch on? So tying all those things together, here's what I think. As outrageous and crazy as it sounds, I think that you could actually piece together some string of a story or explanation as to why this actually might make sense for a defense. I just don't know if it gets it over the finish line. But again, all you need to convince is one person beyond a reasonable doubt that it's possible that these Odinites and the rest of the Marvel clan, I guess, committed this murder and not the defendant.
And I was, go ahead, Al, 10 seconds, go ahead.
Well, I'm a DC guy, so, you know, I'm going to be looking at Batman, and Alfredism is my new book.
Alfredism,
But-
there you go.
Yes.
Perfect.
But
all right.
it's ridiculous. And where's Noah Syndergaard? That's what I want to know.
Okay.
What's the situation here?
Al Wunsch, Darnell Crosland, Judge Gail Byers with us the whole hour. Up next.
Becky Hill, the court clerk from the Low Country accused of influencing the Murdaugh jury, is now featured in season 2 of the Netflix series covering the case. Will this be a problem?
I was awakened by my brother screaming.
Pounding on the door, bang, bang, bang.
People don't realize human beings like that can exist in the world.
He said that we'd seen his face and there was no way that he could ever let us go.
They were not going to let me go easily.
You better fight and you better get out of here.
I survived because I'm a born fighter.
I Survived, tonight at 10/9 Central on Court TV.
This is a food city, but it's also a non-stop, busy all the time city. So how are time-pressed New Yorkers supposed to eat well? Cook Unity. It's not a box of ingredients, not frozen or factory meals. Cook Unity brings you restaurant quality food, ready to heat and eat. Made by real chefs. So stay busy, stay New York, and still eat well.
We got you. We got you.
For people who actually like food, there's Cook Unity. We got you. Visit cookunity.com/TV and receive 50% off your first week.
Alright, I need to collect a full bottle of pink here. The difficulty is that I cannot combine different colors. For example, pink can be poured here. But what's next? How about pour it here?
Make your free TV even better with Tablo. Tablo enhances your TV antenna to give you access to more channels and lets you record your favorite shows.
Switching to Tablo has really been a money saver.
With Tablo, I can record something on my phone, I can pause it, I can go get a drink, come back, I can continue in the family room.
Tablo is so easy to set up.
Order Tablo today for just $99.95. Tablo, pay once and watch forever. Order today at tablotv.com.
Free Movie Channel has something for everyone. Whether you're looking for a laugh, some tears, chilling scares, or something for the whole family, Free Movie Channel has got you covered. With no subscription or rental fees, Free Movie Channel is the quick and easy choice for first-run films, as well as classic movies that you can watch wherever you want, whenever you need a break. It's always free and it's always fun. Check out Free Movie Channel today and find your new favorite movie.
I found something huge.
Check this out.
All day?
All day.
Yeah! Now for the unexplainable.
Every second counts.
Put the gun down!
Welcome aboard.
It's always exciting.
A little enthusiasm here.
Laissez le bon temps rouler. Let the good times roll.
Okay, people, let's start with the who.
Justice has been served!
Very impressive.
This is Scripps News,
Welcome to Morning Rush. We have a lot to get to this morning.
a 24-hour news channel streaming everywhere, totally free.
Don't forget to hit up scriptsnews.com for even more ways to watch.
Want to see more? Grab the app on your favorite streaming platform or go to scriptsnews.com to find every way to watch.
Now, an investigation you'll only see here on Scripps News.
Find the news you've been looking for.
Thanks so much for being with us.
Go to scriptsnews.com now and start watching today.
Let the games begin.
Let's get some order. Oh, okay.
I got to get my dance on.
Hey, family! I'm coming back to this show. Isn't this just fabulous?
What we had filed today, supported by sworn testimony of jurors, is that the clerk of court had improper private communications with the jurors, and the subject matter of those communications was the credibility of the defense that the Murdaugh legal defense team put up, and it was the believability of the defendant's own testimony.
The clerk of court is the person that makes sure the jury gets their food. If they're put up for the night, someplace to stay, their travel accommodations are met. They're not someone that ever should talk to them about the case. I've never had it happen. Again, I've been doing this for a very long time. Never heard of it happening until this case.
I never heard of it either. I mean, no one is supposed to discuss anything with the jury. By the way, Dick Harpootlian and Jim Griffin down there at Crime Con as well, talking to anybody and everybody about this. Trust me. And they believe that they deserve a new trial based upon all this. And the bottom line is we don't know exactly what happened. I have to hear for myself what these jurors say in sworn testimony versus a crafted affidavit. And I want to hear what the other jurors have to say, because I don't know if the jurors are necessarily going to agree with one another. But this is bad. This is bad. This is not, this is potentially devastating to that jury verdict. Now, the Colton County Court of Clerk of the Court, Becky Hill, discussed the deliberations on season 2 of Netflix's Murdaugh Murders, A Southern Scandal. So, I mean, this just dropped, this series just dropped, and she's like all over it. Let's listen to what she had to say.
I had a feeling from our time together with the jury out at Moselle that it was not going to take our jury long to make the decision in this case. It's just called that women's intuition.
Now, she talked about Moselle, right? Moselle was the property where the murder took place. The jury went for a jury view to examine it. And she said, like she said right there, I knew at that moment. Well, this is part of what the defense is alleging. Take a look. The next day, on March 1st, 2023, the jury visited Moselle, the site of the murders. During the visit, the four-person juror 826 and Ms. Hill, that's Becky Hill, the clerk, walked off to have yet another private conversation. In her book, the clerk, Becky Hill, more vaguely hints at communicating her opinion on Mr. Murdaugh's guilt to the jury during the visit to the Moselle property. And they put in a quote from her book. While the jurors viewed the Moselle property, we all could hear and see Alex's story was impossible. Some of us, either from the courthouse, law enforcement, or jury at Moselle, had an epiphany and shared our thoughts with our eyes. At that moment, many of us standing there knew, I knew, and they knew that Alec was guilty. All right, so you've got the book. Now it's season 2 from the Netflix series. Is this a problem? Let's bring back in our think tank, Al Wunsch, Darnell Crosland, Judge Gail Byers. Darnell, is this a problem?
Absolutely. I mean, I've seen less things become big problems. So Ms. Hill, she used her women's intuition to figure out why her husband comes home late every night, not for whether Alex murdered anybody. But in terms
now, there's no indication that her husband's coming home late every night. I just want to make sure that you're just using sort of an analogy here, right? Okay, go ahead.
Yes, by analogy. Allegedly. But in terms of a problem, what you're looking for is whether it's reversible error. And I don't want to hear some judge say that, yeah, that was pretty bad, but there's no proof that even with that, the jury wouldn't have found him guilty because there was so much other evidence. And I know I don't know how to say his name. Harpootlian would probably agree with me that he doesn't want that. There's no correction you could do here. He wants a new trial, and I think he deserves a new trial. This is magnanimous.
Judge Gail Byers, is it that clear if any sort of conversation connected to the case at all by the clerk? How far can the clerk go in her role as the clerk in speaking with the jury?
I will tell you, Vinny, as I kind of chuckled a bit, but this is very problematic. And it's problematic because it also kind of impugns the integrity of the court in general. The clerk is an extension of the court itself. And if the public cannot trust the process for everyone, then they're going to have trouble trusting the process for anyone. So the fact of the matter is that, yes, this is concerning. Mr. Murdaugh may very well get a new trial, even though there seems to be overwhelming evidence as to his culpability. The fact of the matter is that the process, a clerk should only be communicating with jurors regarding process at best. And minor administrative things, as indicated, maybe what's your lunch order? Is something wrong with your accommodations if they're sequestered? Do you have a family matter that needs to be tended to, or do you need to make a phone call, or do you have some kind of emergency that the court needs to accommodate? But there should never be a conversation between court staff and anyone on that jury. In fact, judges don't even talk to attorneys without everyone being there. That's called ex parte. And they surely don't have conversations with jurors, and in fact, go out of their way to even avoid the appearance of that. Why? Because even if it's not bad, it looks bad.
And I'll tell you what, that whole thing about, coordinating lunches, there were only 3 food trucks there, so it was a pretty easy choice each day. You could get the brisket sandwich, very, very good. Pulled pork sandwich, very, very good. Then they had cheesesteaks. A guy from Italy married a woman from Philadelphia and then moved to Walterboro, South Carolina. They had the cheesesteaks going there. And then there was one other one that had some sort of desserts. Now, Becky Hill. I'm not going to ask
you how you know that.
Because I was there. Becky Hill also talked about Murdaugh's guilt in that same episode of the Netflix series. Let's take a look.
I do think Alec pulled the trigger. And then I think he had help with cleaning up everything that needed cleaning up. And what we had left was the crime scene that took us to the trial.
That's interesting. Al, your thoughts about, is this Netflix series a further problem in this case that she's speaking here?
Well, I think it is a further problem, and I don't like seeing this kind of stuff. I don't think she should be allowed to write a book about this. I don't think she should be able to do this Netflix series if she's still in the employ of the state and in the court system. But the question about her having a conversation with one of the jurors, perhaps in private, I don't necessarily have a problem with that, because what if one of the jurors has a complaint about one of the other jurors? One of the other jurors is doing something wrong, or they see something that's, not appropriate under the circumstances.
Let me ask you this, though. It's alleged during the jury view where there was supposed to be just silence. No one was supposed to be speaking at the jury view.
Okay. Well, I mean, I'm not necessarily saying that it was appropriate in the sense that if they were supposed to be silent at that time and there was some other problem there. But if there's a problem, I would want to know, if I was her, that something was going on. And if I'm a juror, I want to know who I could speak to.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not going to go to the judge, and I'm not going to go to the lawyers. I have to go to the person that is the one who leads me in and leads me out. That's her.
All right, let me just go around the horn here. I just want a number. No explanation, just a number. 0, no chance of him getting a new trial. 10, it's a lock, he's getting a new trial. Darnell.
9.
Judge.
7.
7. Al.
7.
3.
3. All right. And you see, did you notice that, Darnell? Al wanted to explain, and then he remembered he was not permitted to. But thank you. Everyone stay where you are. Up next.
Taylor Schabusiness sexually assaulted her lover after she murdered and partially dismembered him. Now it's time for her to be sentenced.
Tragedy in the Hollywood Hills. Prominent therapist Dr. Amy Hardwick found fatally injured under her balcony.
Her ex-boyfriend on trial for her murder.
She had had a restraining order against him.
He strangled her, lifted her up over the balcony, and dropped her. He never intended on killing her.
Is this a case of a jilted lover turned obsessive stalker?
The Hollywood Obsession Murder Trial. Coverage continues Tuesday at 8/7 Central on Court TV.
Hi, I'm Bethany Maddox-Sands, and I'm here with Tennis Warehouse, and I am play testing some shoes today. And I think I'm going to be forced to rank these here in a second. So, are you ready for my ranking?
The fastest gun in the West.
That's right.
Is a magnet for trouble.
Now why'd you have to show up?
Rory Calhoun is the Texan.
Scared?
Every Thursday night on Grid Extra.
Let the games begin.
Ooh, that sounds wonderful.
Now you talking like you got some sense. Let's get some order. Oh, okay. Line it up, baby.
Sorry I'm late. Looking this good doesn't happen by accident.
There are people like us that want to reach out to you and send you that love.
Hey, family.
I got to get my dance on.
I'm coming back to this show. Isn't this just fabulous?
Ion Plus is your home for adventure.
Rex, go!
Mystery.
Fascinating.
And thrill.
Woo! Just keep picking your ear out and see if we pick anything up.
What's with the dog?
He's with me.
You're not supposed to root for the criminals.
That's what I do. No crime is unsolvable. Some simply take longer than others.
You'll always find more on Ion Plus.
Free Movie Channel has something for everyone. Whether you're looking for a laugh, some tears, chilling scares, or something for the whole family, Free Movie Channel has got you covered. With no subscription or rental fees, Free Movie Channel is the quick and easy choice for first-run films, as well as classic movies that you can watch wherever you want, whenever you need a break. It's always free and it's always fun. Check out Free Movie Channel today and find your new favorite movie.
There's a better way to begin your mornings.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Morning Rush. Thanks so much for being with us.
Context and conversation.
This next story, we were talking about this earlier today.
Get the stories that will shape each day.
Here with us now is meteorologist Scott Withers. We got just wave after wave after wave.
So you can get on with yours.
So make sure you stay with us as we keep an eye on this developing story for you.
Morning Rush, weekday mornings starting at 7, 6 Central, only on Scripps News.
There's gonna be trouble.
Let's have it.
Keep your eyes open.
Pull that trigger.
Well, that's right.
I'll find you and I'll kill you.
Now all I need is a fresh horse, a saddle, and a gun.
The verdict seems to be in order, and I will read it as follows. Question 1. At the time the crimes were committed, did the defendant have a mental disease or mental defect? Answer, no. There's no answer then for question 2. It is dated this date, July 27, 2023, signed by the foreperson. There were no dissenting jurors.
That's Taylor Schabusiness out there in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Not legally insane. That was the only defense they had. I mean, what she did was bizarre, absolutely bizarre. And then laughing and smirking in court all through all of this. She was arrested after her lover's head is found in a bucket by his mother. She's found guilty of intentional homicide, third-degree sexual assault, mutilation of a corpse. She sexually assaults him after she kills him and then partially dismembers him. Sick, sick stuff. It was July 27th when the jury found that she was not legally insane. And tomorrow she is scheduled to be sentenced. She faces a mandatory life. But the big issue is the judge could allow for the possibility of parole. Now, this judge will take a look at Taylor Schabusiness, who she is, what she's done. We've got a preview for you of who Taylor Schabusiness is and what she's done. Take a look.
Well, they found a kind of disturbing stuff at the house there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of blood. Basically Shep's head. Yeah.
I was terrible at explaining things, so let's see here. I didn't want him to die, actually. He's in my body, but like it happened.
Do you feel a need to try to help him? Stop choking him or get an ambulance? You didn't feel a need to do that?
I don't know why, it happened so fast.
So then after you realized he was no longer, he was dead, his face was purple, he said all the blood's going out of his mouth. What'd you do?
Clean him up a little bit. And then, I just played with him like a little.
You said play with him, what do you mean?
Play with his and then I put him up over the bed, and then
Was it erect?
It was half.
Did you?
Even.
What did you do with this penis?
I put it on.
So all of a sudden, the chain went around his neck. How come? I'm just trying to get it.
He likes it. I was gonna walk him like a dog.
And he wanted that?
I have no idea what I was gonna do it anyway. You ever love something so much that you know? Like it happens to me. That's the feeling that I have. I love something so much that I kill it. Like, oh, I love it so much, and then I kill it. I'm getting angry at myself. Very angry at myself.
You're gonna take the hit somewhere?
I like that.
You liked it? How did you dismember his body?
Nice.
With what?
Nice.
Knives? Just more than one knife?
Nobody's armed? Nobody's armed. You sure? I'm sure.
You weren't sure?
No. It was alright. Bread knife works good.
Bread knife?
A bread knife works good.
Really?
I use one of these, so like, yeah. I got lazy last night, so. Like, I don't even know, like, I'm like, yeah.
Sentencing is tomorrow, Tuesday. Wisconsin versus Taylor Shabusiness. Let's bring back in our think tank Al Wunsch, Darnell Crosland, Judge Gail Byers. Judge, I'll begin with you. The issue tomorrow will be all about the possibility of parole versus no possibility of parole. I think it's a no-brainer myself, but is there anything to this?
Vinny, I don't think so. You know, when I consider issues of this magnitude, there's one question that I start with, which is, would I ever want this person living next door to me? Do I want them at the local CVS? Or would I like to run into them at the neighborhood chicken shack? If I knew about them what I know now, under what circumstances would I ever be comfortable with that being the case? And to that extent, to what end should the community ever be comfortable with sharing society with someone like this, who, by the way, at this point seems completely unrepentant, has no remorse, and I am really, my heart goes out to the victims' families, because I think at this stage, what you know more than anything is you're never getting your loved one back, but you at least want contriteness. You want somebody who at least cares that a life has been lost and that they have been determined to be responsible for it. And so, to me, I share the opinion. I think that life without the possibility of parole is almost a no-brainer. And I only say almost because there may be some rehabilitative services available to her while incarcerated, but I would think that's a long road before anyone could ever feel comfortable saying, return this person to society.
Al?
I don't know. I think you could phone this one in, Vin. I don't think that there's any way that they're going to let this woman out ever again, and with good reason. I mean, she's just horrific. I mean, she is a walking tribute to the most horrible things you can think of for horror movies and Halloween. There's no way she should be ever let out.
Darnell, do you think she'll speak tomorrow? And is there anything that she could say that could be persuasive?
Well, first of all, they should only let her out if Al has a vacancy in his neighborhood. But in terms of her speaking tomorrow, I don't think she's going to speak. Throughout this trial, she smirks, she makes hand gestures, she laughs in a weird way. She doesn't seem like she wants to give a reason or rationalize her actions.
What do you think her life is going to be like behind bars, Darnell?
Her life behind bars is going to be fun for her, because I think she doesn't even get what's happening right now. So she's probably going to get with the girls. They're going to, she's going to get some of those black, I said black, but I meant like braids, like they do in Jamaica. And she's going to hang around, and she's going to be the life of the party. And then the party's going to be going on past 20 years, and she's still going to be partying. And then she finally gets the message. But I think the judge is going to throw the book at her. And since we got a judge on the panel, I brought my gavel out. Al, eat your heart out.
Look at that, Al. He's got the gavel. We got two. We have a judge. We got a gavel. What do you got for us, Al? Anything? There you go, Sharpie. All right. Again, folks, the sentencing is Tuesday. That is tomorrow. Taylor's your business. I mean, I look at her, I see that there's obviously something wrong with her, that she is touched, but she is not legally insane. She is responsible for what she did. And I hope she gets up and at least expresses some level of remorse and apologizes rather than laughs about what she did to Shad Therion. All right, fasten your seatbelts. Up next. In tonight's Tank Takes, a man is in trouble with the law after setting up a dental practice at a convenience store, which has us wondering, if you needed a root canal while you were on the road, would you go to 7-Eleven, Wawa, or Buc-ee's?
There was pounding on the door. Bang, bang, bang.
He said that we'd seen his face and there was no way that he could ever let us go.
I survived because I'm a born fighter.
I Survive. Next on Court TV.
A victim with celebrity ties from Stormy Daniels to once being engaged to Drew Carey.
Now her alleged killer faces a jury.
The Hollywood Obsession Murder Trial. Coverage continues Tuesday at 8/7 Central on Court TV.
Hi, I'm Bethany Maddox-Sands, and I'm here with Tennis Warehouse, and I am play testing some shoes today. And I think I'm going to be forced to rank these here in a second. So, are you ready for my ranking?
The fastest gun in the West.
That's right.
Is a magnet for trouble.
Now why'd you have to show up?
Rory Calhoun is the Texan.
Scared?
Every Thursday night on Grid Extra.
Mom? How could you? Two can play at this game.
I'm Vinny Politan. Welcome to Closing Arguments. There is so much on the line, so much at stake. But what was this case really about?
Closing Arguments with Vinny Politan. Weeknights at 8/7 Central. Only on Court TV. Do you have an idea for a story you would like to see or a comment on our coverage you want to share? We want to hear from you. Call our Scripps News viewer hotline at 833-4SCRIPPS. That's 833-4SCRIPPS.
Brothers, these are the cases that shape the American justice system. But what is certain is the most important issue. Innocence or guilt. If it doesn't fit, you must acquit.
You are talking to me because you're sitting on
Watching this evolution through the years has been fascinating.
This is the staircase with evidence of murder.
You don't know what's going to happen next.
Court TV is the best true crime.
Let's have some fun. Ground units are on their way. FBI, don't move! Fire department!
Well, we're just getting started.
Let's go!
Chicago PD!
Welcome to paradise.
That means they feel the heat. You're under arrest.
Number one with a bullet.
Show me right now.
The trial of the Menendez brothers.
Accused of gunning down their own parents.
I've heard of very few murders that were more savage than this one was.
Was it a vicious murder for money or a means to escape from a dark family secret?
My client was sexually molested by his father.
Relive the riveting testimony of brothers Lyle and Eric Menendez.
Why did you kill your parents?
So we were afraid.
The trial of the Menendez brothers. Weekdays 4 to 8, only on Court TV. Legendary Trials.
Welcome back. Time for tonight's Tank Takes, where we take a look at the world of crime and justice and some stories that are very different than the rest of the stories on this show. Still with us, Al Wunsch III, Darnell Crosland, Judge Gail Byers. Are you ready?
Absolutely.
Ready.
All right, we begin tonight with one I'm calling the somersaulting suspect. Another one of those high-speed chases taking place out in the out on the West Coast. It took an hour, very dramatic, but when it came to a conclusion, the suspect, he was suspected of robbery, tried to escape through the window of his car, courtesy of Fox 11, Los Angeles. We have the video. Let's take a look as he's trying to get out, and with the flip, and he's up. Look at that. Beautiful. Al Wunsch III, did he stick the landing?
Then I want to do it like I would be if I was looking at the Olympics. The fleeing felon window dismount is all about precision, showcasing one's stunning balance of beauty and athleticism. Perfect.
Judge, what'd you think?
I would say Simone Biles Owens has nothing to worry about with regard to her record being beaten, if that's the best we can do.
And Darnell, I'll give you the final word on the somersaulting suspect.
Well, I definitely think he did an ad for Fruit of the Loom. So his underwears are out.
Fantastic. Let's get to the second story today. I'm calling this one the convenient dentist. Two people in Massachusetts have been arrested after police exposed an elaborate and illegal dental practice that was secretly taking place inside a convenience store. And apparently they were doing tooth extractions and cleanings. The guy who was doing them apparently was a dentist in Ecuador and says he was only trying to help people in the community who needed it. But my question tonight, if you're out on the road and you needed a root canal, would you go to 7-Eleven, Wawa, or Buc-ee's? Darnell.
I think I'll go to 7-Eleven because you never know when that pain comes on.
Exactly. Judge?
I'm going to keep on moving. I'm going to pick D, none of the above.
Al, your thoughts?
Well, I'm going to go a new convenience store. It's called Okay, you figure, you go to the gas station, you want to get a big gulp, a hot dog, root canal. It gives new meaning to the term filling station.
Look, Darnell, how did you miss that one? How did you miss that one, Darnell?
Oh,
it was right there for you.
It was so easy.
I know, it was a softball.
It was like
it was a softball.
Too easy. Okay, let's get to our final story of the night. I'm calling this one a rough ride. And viral video, the man is half naked, he's got a dog in his lap, and he's in a golf cart. And he's in the middle of a low-speed chase that lasted 10 miles. There's folks on the sidelines cheering and laughing as he was attempting his slow escape. They actually had to use spike strips in this one, and courtesy of Fox 11.